Okay, welcome to the third video in the Fast Focus forum, and today, after we looked at processes a little bit yesterday, that idea of identity, processes and outcome, we're going to spend a little bit of time looking at a process, a really nice structural habit that you can start practicing immediately, and this is something that can support you to work towards your goals. So I'm going to refer to it as bookending your day. So in other words, you've got a set routine or a habit to start the day and again to finish the day. And it is a really, really powerful habit to get into. So let's take a look. This is what a typical morning looks like for me. I begin my morning straight away by using my journal and thinking about what I'm grateful for. My suggestion would be maybe just pick about 3 things, probably no more than 3, that you're grateful for. The reason I suggest that is because 3 feels achievable, like you're not going to have to work too hard to think of 3 things that you're grateful for. And in my experience, having played around with this, any more than 3, sometimes it can feel a bit artificial or a bit forced. So in the morning, I journal and I think of 3 things that I'm grateful for. Could be people, could be the cup of coffee I've got in my hand, it might be the weather outside, whatever it is that morning. That's how I start my day every day. The next thing that I spend some time thinking about is my goal. So the goals that I'm working towards over the 13 weeks that I'm working on them, I take an opportunity to refocus on them to make sure that they're top of mind, and that I can check in, make sure that I'm still working towards those goals, and that's what my plan looks like for the day. To help me with my plan for the day, I then start looking at my targets. So this is where I start jotting down the targets that I would like to set for myself today. And I make sure to spend some time thinking about how they link to my goals. Sometimes I'll just use the notes section in my journal to just write down a list of things that I could do as targets. And once I've done that, I'll go back through that list and pick out the ones that are most important for that day, making sure that most of them relate to my goals, so I can satisfy myself that I'm focused on the goal and I'm working towards it. So that's how I begin every morning. In the evening, this is the approach that I follow every evening, and it's an approach I would highly recommend. So the first thing I begin with is spending some time thinking about my wins for the day. So right in the first video, I encourage you to think about 1 win for today when you started getting into action. This is an opportunity, thinking about the wins each day, to really reflect on the things that went well, the things that you're pleased with, the things that you got done. Some days this is easier than others, but there are always some things in there I just need to spend some time just thinking about it. And the reason for doing this, in my experience, is it's really easy to lose sight of the progress that you are making, or to discount it, or to just feel busy and want to move on to the next thing quite quickly. And these wins, if we take time to recognise them, really help us recognise the progress that we're making towards our goal. They also help top up our self-esteem, which is crucial, because what we're talking about here is lasting behaviour change. And as your self-esteem increases, your momentum increases, you're much more likely to step into that new identity and work towards those goals in a really powerful way. The second thing I then spend some time looking at in the evening is lessons. So what lessons did I learn today? This is super powerful way to fast forward your learning, really develop a deep insight into how you work and your preferences, and also to make course corrections as you go. So initially, when I started working in this way, I had a tendency to set too many targets in one day, and I just felt overwhelmed. And also by the end of the day, there were lots of targets that I hadn't achieved, and that left me feeling a bit flat that I'd missed those targets. And so in spending some time thinking about that, reflecting, looking at the lessons that I learned during that day, it was very easy for me to then take corrective action, start to reduce the number of targets I set for myself in a day, still stretch myself with them, but not stretch myself too much that I just kept on missing them. The final thing that I'm going to encourage you to end each day with is gratitude. Again, a bit like in the morning, I recommend 3 things that you're grateful for that day. My habit on this is to complete this exercise just before I go to bed. I make it the last thing that I do. So come upstairs, clean my teeth, walk into the bedroom, pick up my journal, and then spend some time thinking about the things that I'm grateful for before I get into bed. Now, before I used to do that, I was in the habit of maybe watching the evening news, checking social media before I went to bed. And I don't have any proof for this, but certainly I feel different when I do that and go to bed. I tend to have a worse sleep. I tend to wake up in the morning feeling a bit apprehensive or preoccupied, rather than now when I go to bed thinking about the things that I'm grateful for that day. Personally, I feel like I sleep better, and in the morning I tend to rise a little easier, feel a bit more optimistic about the day, and feel much more motivated to start my morning routine and begin journaling again that morning. So that's the approach that I recommend, day in, day out. In starting this, what you're doing is effectively developing a new habit. And we're going to spend a little bit of time looking at how you can play around with habits to introduce new habits into the habits you've already got so that they start to take hold quite quickly. That's us done for this video. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye for now.